Hello, my good friends. When we talk about the criminal justice system in Nigeria, many people do not realize how deep this criminal justice system is. Now, recently, an old man was released from the prison. He's over 70 years, 60 or so. He was arrested when he was very young for a crime he didn't commit. Now he has spent all his life in prison. And the most painful part of this is that the Nigerian government does not take it upon themselves to at least compensate this man for the years that he has lost in the prison. Now, some of these things don't even make the headlines in Nigeria anymore because in Nigeria, injustice has become a norm, which is quite unfortunate. Now, when they call your country a zoo, you get angry. But all the situations that are prevalent in George Orwell's Animal Farm are very prevalent in Nigeria as we speak. But many people have now accepted it as a kind of tradition. Injustice should not be a tradition in any society that is willing to develop. It shouldn't be at all. And silence, most of the time, is an affirmation. It's not a disapproval. So when you refuse to speak against injustice, you are indirectly supporting that injustice. That is why in philosophy we say, not to speak is to speak, but in favor of what you want unopposed. When there is an injustice, when you see injustice around you, yet you refuse to speak, you are indirectly affirming that injustice. I know the table sometimes, in fact, always turns. You may be feeling unconcerned just because it didn't happen to you. But someday, because you are living in a criminal justice system, it may definitely happen to you. And that is life. We have also seen so many situations where criminals are being swapped in the prison so that someone who is very wealthy, who must have committed murder and a capital crime for that matter, who should be facing a capital punishment. If that person is in prison and somebody who stole banana or stole some cup of rice because of hunger is also being arrested, you will see that sometimes that person who stole banana and the very wealthy criminal will be swapped so that the capital criminal will be released while the person who stole banana will be wallowing in prison for years, for decades, without justice. This is not the kind of society anyone will want to live as a human being. And like I said earlier, the most unfortunate part of this situation is that we have not learned to live with it. We have not learned to accept this situation just like every other situation. It's now like a tradition, which is not right. Now, the social media has given us a platform, a voice to speak up as a people, as a society. My grandmother used to say that the easiest way to weaken the power of a witch is by exposing that witch in the daylight. So you may think that exposing the injustice in our system is not the solution. I can tell you for sure that it is a solution. In fact, it is a major part of the solution. Because if we come together and everybody acknowledge that yes, this is injustice and it needs to stop, and we fight for it, I can tell you for sure that in a matter of time, it will surely come to pass. So, some of you are happy just because it is not happening to you. You are silent because it is not you today. Tomorrow, it might be you. We have seen situations where jungle justice happen. People will be happy. Somebody who is accused of stealing something very mania will be burnt to death, and people will be jubilating. But sometimes one of them in the crowd, his own is coming. So we must speak up as a people and be bold enough to speak the truth to the government of the day that this must stop. The government is as powerful as the power we gave to it. The government is not like a god kind of institution that cannot be dismantled. It can't be dismantled. Many civilizations have fought for their society to arrive at where they are today. But in the Nigeria situation, what we do is that we always want to run away. It's okay to try to run so that you can survive, but when you survive, come home, help, and try to fix the situation. Because we say in Africa, Ubuntu, that the presence of a rich man in the midst of his poor brothers makes the rich man even poorer. You are nothing without your society. If everyone is suffering around you, and you are the only one who is happy, and you are the only one who is satisfied, you are equally suffering. You are just being delusional. That's the fact. So we must speak up and make this government to understand that this has to stop. It doesn't matter who is involved, whether it's a Muslim, whether it's a Christian, whether it's an unbeliever, whether it's an atheist. What is wrong, and what is right is right. You know, when I speak like this, I see people, if religion is about standing up for what is right, speaking the truth, and, you know, being fair, I think I'm more religious than you are. You know, when a Muslim sees an injustice happen to a Christian, he justifies it. He's happy. After all, he says, yes, it has caught up with him. And when a Christian sees an injustice happen to a Muslim, he says, yes, this is it. Now, it has caught up with him. This is not the kind of society we live in. In fact, I tell so many religious people that you live opposite of what you preach. You live opposite of what you preach, which is an inauthentic life. It is a double standard life. And the first point to making sure that we live in a just and peaceful society is for us to be just to ourselves and be just to our neighbors. Justice is greater than the law. And if justice is not part of the system, then the system has no reason to exist anymore. That's just it. Thank you very much.